So I just watched Fantastic Four First Steps, and um, of the two superhero movies that came out this year, or I guess three, right? Because Thunderbolts. Um, so of the three superhero movies that came out this year, I would say that this is probably the worst one. It's not a terrible movie, but it's not a really good movie either. Um, I just really didn't enjoy a lot of it. But it wasn't like because it was terrible. It was just like I couldn't get into it. I just really the chemistry between the actors wasn't bad or anything, and I actually enjoyed the performances. Pedro Pascal, you can love him or hate him. Sometimes he can be an annoying douche, but uh, he acted his ass off. I think Vanessa Kirby, it was like so obvious that she had a British accent, that there were so many lines in this movie where I'm like, oh yeah, she's trying to do an American accent, and it's like so weird because it's like she slips into British, but then like remembers last second while delivering the line, so it's just very awkward sounding. Um, the guy who played Eddie Munson in Stranger Things, he's pretty good in it as Johnny Storm. But you know, it's like the whole movie just is very blah to me, and that's what a lot of people were saying about Superman um, and Thunderbolts, and I disagree. Both of those movies, especially Superman, really felt like breaths of fresh air, and like I actually felt like invested in the stories and the characters, and I wanted to see more. With this, I don't really, I could see less of these characters and it wouldn't, bother me too much, Um, I mean, I wouldn't mind seeing them again. Vanessa Kirby is beautiful, so I wouldn't mind seeing her again, but uh, it's not like I really want to see these characters interacting with the Avengers, and there are no Avengers anymore. I know they're bringing back Robert Downey Jr., but they're bringing him back as Doctor Doom. And then they'll probably bring him back as Iron Man because I don't believe this whole, oh, I'm not coming back as Tony Stark. That character is dead, but I'll come back as something. That's fucking, it's a crock of shit, bro. If he's willing to come back as Doctor Doom, he's willing to come back as Iron Man. Um, and besides him, there's really no more Avengers left. I mean, nobody really likes Sam Wilson's Captain America. Um, the Thunderbolts are cool. I guess they're now the new Avengers. I like them, but I don't exactly really want to see them interacting with the Fantastic Four. There's nothing to gain really from that. Spider Man, everybody likes Spider Man, but he's like we have really no clue what Tom Holland's Spider Man is going to be fitting into all of this. Um, I mean, I I really have honestly no anticipation or excitement to be quite honest with you. I don't know when Avengers Doomsday comes. It's like 2026 or 2027. Um, to me, it's not something that is like one of these things where I'm like, oh my god, I cannot wait. Like that's what Avengers Infinity War felt like, and Avengers Endgame and the first Avengers and Avengers Age of Ultron too. I remember being hyped about Age of Ultron. The movie was whatever. That was actually probably one of the bigger disappointments that I can remember as a kid, like going into a movie and being disappointed because it just wasn't that great, but it wasn't bad either. And I had to like be like, oh, it wasn't as good as the first one, but I really enjoyed it. You kind of have to lie to yourself, and you're like, that movie was whatever, because it really wasn't a bad film. It was not the first Avengers, and the first Avengers is so great. And I think I think it's just, it's one of these things where I remember how great the first Avengers was, and I remember there was moments where I was watching the MCU, like there was peaks where it's like, wow, these movies are actually pretty good. Like I actually really like these movies. And I don't understand what people are talking about when they're like, oh, it's a Marvel movie, it's a Marvel movie. And I never understood that. And until like I think about 2019 or 2020, I was like, oh, this is what people mean. This is what people mean by that. Okay, now I get it. And I've sort of been getting it more and more, that whole superhero fatigue thing that I thought was like, nah, I don't think that's ever gonna happen. It's fully kicked in for me. But it's strange because movies like Superman got me invested. Movies like Batman 2022 got me invested, and I want to see more of these characters. I want to see more of this world that they're interacting in. I don't feel that way with Fantastic Four because the movie wasn't that great. The plot is very not kind of boring, like basic. You know, the Fantastic Four, you're introduced to them right away, sort of like Superman. Like, you know what, they kind of throw everything at you in the beginning, and everybody loves the Fantastic Four, and they're in this like weird retrograde like 50s 60s universe that's also like modern times too because of the technology they use. So it's very confusing. But it's supposed to be an alternate universe Earth. I think it was like Earth 38 or something. And you know, it's not the most interesting of worlds, I have to say. Like, I don't want to see any of this world explored. I don't think it is really that interesting of a of a setting, really. Like, yeah, it's a cool looking, like, oh look, New York, but it's kind of older looking. But they don't really go into it very much. Like, they don't actually try to make the city look too different. It's just got some like noticeably different features, but they're not too different. And the rest of it just kind of feels like, oh, they're still fighting in New York. So if you're going to go and do an alternate Earth with all this different shit, maybe go out of your way to make the background sets and stuff like that, like the main city street set that you're using, which I'm pretty sure is just like a back lot. I know it's supposed to be Times Square, but it's not. Maybe just make that a little less looking like just regular old New York, and maybe try to make it look different. I don't know. It just felt sort of lazy to me that they're like, oh yeah, they're fighting, and this whole place is this weird looking Earth, you know, and it's like old timey, but everything just kind of looks the same how it would look like in any other MCU movie. The fight with I don't even know why I'm talking about a fight. There really isn't barely any action in this movie, and when it does happen, it's mostly like chase related stuff. You don't really get a good scene where every character gets to utilize their power in a way. They don't fight many people. It's basically Silver Surfer comes down, says, "Yo, I'm gonna destroy some shit, Marty. I'm gonna fuck some shit up, Marty." That's Ruth from Ozark, for people who don't know. If you didn't watch Ozark, I'll let you know. The first 3 seasons are amazing. Season 4 part 1 is great, and then it takes a big fucking shit on itself with season 4 part 2, and you realize that there was no point in watching it. But Ruth is an amazing fucking character, and Julie Garner, I think is her name. She's a great actress. You wouldn't be able to tell because she doesn't really get to emote in this movie besides like very little bit. She was the Silver Surfer. I know people are upset, like, oh, Silver Surfer's a woman. It doesn't even matter. I mean, that's the least of its problem. The movie, like the least of its problems is that fucking Silver Surfer is a woman. All right, she is really bad CGI, like at points. Like some points she looks fine, but there are, especially at the end, moments where she just looks so terrible And I think it's like that silver or chrome effect. I guess it's hard to make look good unless you're putting a lot of money into it. And I'm sure this movie has a lot of money put into it, probably like 200, $300 million. But it just looks like sloppily done CGI at so many points with her specifically. There was this shot at the end where she like gets in the way of Johnny Storm, who's trying to sacrifice himself, and she sacrifices herself to stop Galactus. And she pushes him out of the way, and it looks so goofy. And that's the same thing with the baby in this movie. It looks, I don't know if most of the time it's CGI, or if the baby just is kind of like an ugly looking baby, but it was just a weird, uncanny valley sort of effect every time I saw the baby on screen, especially when like the Thing is carrying him, because the Thing is obviously CGI, and then the baby is either real or not CGI, but either way it looks like they're like two different types of like CGI interacting with each other. You know what I mean? Like the Thing carrying the baby, it looks so bad. It looks terrible. What's the word for it? Poorly keyed in? I don't know. I'm not a fucking, I'm not a very smart or knowledgeable person about film and special effects, but the CGI in this movie ranged from fine to sometimes, oh, that's pretty good, to really, really bad. Like, reminds me of something you'd see in like the 2000s. But the action itself in this movie is really nothing to be excited about. There is one cool action sequence, and like I said, it's more of a chase. They're like trying to get out of Galactus's ship, and then they leave, but they're like flying and basically hyperspace, but it's not hyperspace. It's like something else. And the Silver Surfer is chasing them, and then they have to trap her into like a neutron star's gravity well, right? And that's gonna like cause a time distortion for her, and she's gonna get stuck there for a month. So like all that was pretty cool, and how they figured it out. But yeah, there was never really a moment where all of them kind of worked cohesively as a team, except for I guess when they fought Galactus. But what I mean is cohesively as a team, I just mean like doing some combos with each other, like getting to see everybody utilize their powers in really cool ways. Reed Richards just barely gets any time to do anything with his powers. It's like, every once in a while he'll like stretch, and he'll like stretch here and he'll stretch there. But like he doesn't really do anything super effective with his powers. His weapon is his brain, because he's constantly coming up with the plans and stuff. Johnny Storm is pretty much the most effective one, and Sue Storm too. Like, because she actually like holds Galactus with her like mind telepath powers. Whatever, she's got like invisible powers, but I guess she also has the Force too. She like sort of grabbed the Silver Surfer. The Thing. The Thing is, I don't think he does anything. I think he bumps the Silver Surfer once. He shoulder checks her. And then he like knocks down a building. He literally like knocks down a building and causes like probably like hundreds of millions, if not billions of dollars worth of damage, so that Galactus could like not be leaning on a building anymore, and then the Galactus stands up. It's like he barely did anything. Oh, Jesus. He also has like the whole stupid, you know what I really can't stand, and I'm gonna go off on a side tangent, but his thing is that like they're like, oh, say it's clobbering time. It's like, no, I don't do that. That's what the cartoon made me say, because there's a cartoon of them in the movie. I don't know if that was actually based off like a real cartoon, whatever. Either way, it's one of these things that I've noticed movies doing when they adapt characters from like media, like comic books or video games, where they have like sort of a wacky catchphrase or something wacky about them. So they're like, oh, why don't you wear this? And it's like their classic iconic costume that they wear in the comic books. And they'll be like, that's so out of style, man. Not anymore. You know, or like, I don't know what I was thinking when I was wearing that. You know, and stuff like that, where it's almost like, isn't it crazy what that, well, it's like, yeah, isn't it so stupid and goofy what they had them say in the comic books, or what they wore in the comic books? It's like, well, you're adapting that character. You know, he says it's clobbering time, so just say it. You know, you don't have to make it a dumb, let's say it. You know, it's not even a embarrassing thing. Like, so I don't know why he'd be like, I don't say that. It's dumb, you know? It's just to have a pointless running gag throughout the movie. And also the humor in this movie barely lands, if at all. Like, I don't think the jokes were very funny, you know? Like, they were really funny, and I don't know if it's indicative of the writing. I don't know if there was different writers, but in Thunderbolts, it was pretty funny. Like, the Thunderbolts movie was pretty funny. None of the jokes in this movie land. None of the real humor elements of it land. And at some points, it gets annoying, because the movie is fairly dramatic for a good stretch of the amount of time. But then they like try to sprinkle in jokes here and there that don't land and are distracting to the scene. Like, the Silver Surfer shows up and it's this dramatic moment, and she flies into their ship, and then randomly the Thing is like, oh, Johnny, it looks like your girlfriend's here. And it's obviously been added later in post. And they're like, the scene is too dramatic. We need some sort of levity. No one's laughing at that. No one is laughing at that. And it was just dumb to add. It kind of killed some of the tension of the scene. You don't need to have funny moments in everything now. And this is a flaw that is in Superman and Thunderbolts and pretty much every movie now. It's like, we can have dramatic movies. You know, we can have dramatic stretches of time in a movie. You know, you can have levity. I'm not saying don't make your movie like a fucking goddamn Zack Snyder film, all right? I don't want that. But, you know, you can make your movies also dramatic at the same time and have the stakes mean something. You don't always have to have a fucking moment of levity or humor in everything. It doesn't need to be that, all right? Please, can we get out of this fucking... What is it called? Joss Whedon era? Like, I think someone has dubbed it, like, the Joss Whedon effect. Like, we don't need this in everything now. You know, the Avengers did it and it was cool at the time. Now it's getting annoying. Please, let's stop it. The post-credit scene is the baby, like, touching Dr. Doom's face. And you're supposed to think, oh, that's Robert Downey Jr. and not a body double. And he's holding what looks like a Party City Doctor Doom mask. I don't know what they're thinking with Doctor Doom. I just don't know what they're thinking. When I heard the idea, it sounded ridiculous. I couldn't even believe. I thought it was fake. I still can't believe that this is actually what's going to happen with the new Avengers movie. Like, it's insane that they're bringing back Robert Downey Jr. not to play Iron Man. First of all, they're bringing back Robert Downey Jr. and then they spoil that, which they would never do in the past. They would always keep that close to their chest or something like that. And then they're like, oh yeah, we don't know. We don't have plans for him ever being in a movie. And then he would show up and everybody go fucking crazy. Now it's just like, Oh yeah, he's showing up, guys. He's showing up. Robert Downey Jr. is showing up, and he's showing up as Doom. Yeah, he's playing Doom. It's like so. It just reeks of desperation, and I don't I don't really see myself not hating like him as a villain, but I don't see myself ever taking him seriously or taking the movie seriously because the concept of it is just so rooted in absolute Hollywood cynicism, basically, or cynicalness. Is that the word? Just Robert Downey Jr. collecting an enormous fucking paycheck for this, probably. Like, I want to say, what is it, like hundreds of millions of dollars he used to get paid for per movie or something like that? Like, whatever his contract negotiation was for this must be like it must be the stuff of legend, you know. So good on Robert Downey Jr. He's winning, but at the same time, it is kind of like, do you need all of this money? Did you need to really come back and do this? And where does this stop? Because are the other Avengers all going to be like, yo, what the fuck are we doing? Like, why don't we just come back? Why do we do that? Like, why do we all want to go our separate ways? It's fucking stupid. Like, let's all come back. I would love to make more money off this shit. Sit in front of a fucking green screen all day and get to be a fucking superhero? Yeah, let's do it. Scarlett Johansson is in that piece of shit fucking Jurassic World movie, and I don't know if she had fun with it. I don't know if she liked it, or I haven't even watched it. But like, to me, when I saw her in the trailer, I'm like, Scarlett, what are you doing? You didn't have to do this, you know? Like, you were in all your fucking Wes Anderson, like, art house films and shit, you know, fucking Taika Waititi, the guy who made the terrible Thor movie. You know, you were in that fucking Jojo Rabbit, whatever the fuck that movie was, with like Hitler as an imaginary friend, and she like hung herself, or she got hung or something in a public square. You know, like, why aren't you doing more movies like that? Why are you playing Zora Bennett? And who gets excited for those movies, by the way? You know, those Jurassic movies, like, who really goes, oh, I can't wait for one of those to come out? Because I think there's something wrong, like, with you as a person, if you really go, oh, I can't wait until Jurassic World comes out. Like, I really don't want to be your friend or be interacting with you if you're really like, yeah, dude, I can't wait. Like, I'll first day in the theaters, we're watching that. I can't wait to see, what's his name, like Owen something. I can't wait to see Owen something interact with Zora Bennett. Just fucking awful, bro. I don't know. But, yeah, Superman is better than this movie. And I've been seeing a lot of positive reviews for this. I don't get it. I just do not get it. And a lot of the positive reviews for this are coming from people who were giving negative reviews to things like Thunderbolts and Superman, which is strange to me. Yeah, uninteresting movie, uninteresting plot. Characters are whatever. The acting is good. Action is lacking. The villains are weak and uninteresting and boring. And comedy isn't very good. Cinematography is, again, like dull Marvel movie cinematography, which, you know, comparing that to something like Superman, I keep bringing it up because it is its direct competition. Superman, the camera is always moving in these action scenes, and you always feel like, you know, like, oh my god, I'm actually flying with Superman at some points. And, you know, not all the shots are amazing. It's not brilliant cinematography throughout, you know, the movie, but it definitely has like a style. you know, like a film, you know, like I'm trying to be smart, but I'm sounding like an idiot. But like, you know what I mean? Like James Gunn, you can tell that that's a James Gunn movie. You know, this movie feels like it was generated by AI at some points. Um, like this movie is the definition of of below average. Honestly, I was gonna say average. No, it's below average. I can't be positive with everything. This movie is 4.5 out of 10. It's not a middle of the road. It's not completely awful and fucking terrible. There are some redeeming qualities about it. Um, but it's just mostly just blah boring. And I honestly don't want to ever watch this movie again. Maybe they jack off to Vanessa Kirby, but that's about it.